other public comment? Mr. Benning?
Robert, 2830 Linden Street, some random budget comments from the meetings I have been to so far. First, on the handout I gave you at the budget hearing on the general revenues, I had an error. The percentage payout started at 91.3, not 90.3. It has gone down. In fact, the week of 11/22, it was down 89.9%. Good for the city, bad for players. Second, there was a controller submitted a number of suggestions to you, and they were reported in the paper. One, I need to remind you that if the 911 service were switched to the county doesn't do it for free. In fact, as I have pointed out on a number of occasions, we do get a credit on our tax bills in Northampton County from the county for 0.4 mils. So if you pass this thing, the county property taxes go up 0.4 mils. So, keep that in mind as you look at that issue. As I've noted before, in May, there's a couple big things happening on the south side. The Sands Hotel is due to open, and the Steel Stacks project is due to open. So far, in the budget hearings that I've attended, I've heard nothing really said addressing that issue. I'm hoping on Thursday night that during the public safety budget talks, there will be some attention paid to the fact that there's a workload coming up here with more people, and there are going to be more issues to be dealt with from the public safety point of view, especially life safety hazard in a 10-story hotel. The other thing related to that, there was discussion by the Health Bureau of raising some food licenses, and I believe the fee increases were only dealing with sit-down restaurants and that kind of thing. These festivals and stuff that we have now, and it will be coming in greater numbers in the Steel Stacks area, have a lot of outside vendors selling food. Is this an area where perhaps fees could also be increased and enforced, I hope, in terms of the licenses and inspections? The same thing regards for mercantile tax. We have a lot of vendors coming in these craft things. They are, doing things that conflict with the existing brick and mortar vendors in the city, and I really would like to see maybe more fees or more whatever addressed to them that's related to that. The refinancing issue, which I told you I wasn't going to talk about anymore, but I can't resist. There was a discussion after the last one of the last meetings about whether or not if you pass the budget as is for the general revenue item of 1.2 million from refinancing, whether or not you were basically adopting the refinancing at that point in time. And the remark was made, no, there's no legal, there's going to be a separate ordinance, and that will be brought up later this year. I think, however, realistically, if you accept that revenue item in the budget, and then you come down later on to discuss it, you've already painted yourself in a corner. I don't know how many of you would like to defeat the refinancing work and then see yourself with a 2% budget hole. So if you pass the budget with that item in it, you are painting yourself into a corner. I'm very pleased to note a lot of people accuse the Democratic Party, especially in Washington, of being a tax and spend party. Well, that's not true here in Bethlehem. It's a borrow and spend party. A number of, I think the fine folks that are staring back at me right now, may want to run for the mayor in the future at some point in time. I would encourage you to look at that very nice colored handout prepared for the refinancing that shows a bunch of red and green bars. And look at where all those green bars are up higher. There's an old Pennsylvania Dutch saying about, you made your bed, you got to lie in it. One final comment. At one of the budget hearings, the Parks and Public Property Director mentioned regarding the golf course that negotiations are in progress to amend things out there, the structure and all, and that the numbers were sort of not very firm in what had been presented. So I would hope when you pass Bill 29 on the 21st that you would have some amendments before you pass it. Otherwise, you are passing something that the director of that area has clearly said isn't very meaningful. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Shire.
Eddie Rodriguez, 1845 Linden Street, Bethlehem. My general complaints are, first of all, we'd like to see something happening with signs over at the Dice Cornfeld Recycling Center. Kids are not, what they're doing is that they're getting too close to the cardboard material box. And I'm recommending that these kids, regardless of their age, unless if they're older, at least 16, not be permitted around any area where there's metal, recycling, or machine running in operation. I have brought it to the attention of the many, and these are very dangerous moves without the parents watching. You can't rely on children that are always going to be by your side. I've seen kids actually cross, and their parents weren't watching at all. Signs be posted also at the compost center. Reason is because I have witnessed several times where cigars and cigarettes are allowed simply because someone is not watching and it's not their fault. It's just that they're so daring that they go in there. People have been next to me with a cigar lit. I told the individual, do not, please. I begged the individual, gave me a hard time, cursed me out. It's not my business, told him where I was. Still, he just went on and did what he wanted. So this is not, you want to blaze, you don't want that. So I'm asking for signs to be posted. Nothing beyond that, beyond this point at the gate that is lit. Cigars or cigarettes. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Sanchez, members of council. Regarding sidewalks, I am under the understanding that according to ordinance that there's a letter needed for a repair order. This is ridiculous. And it's not the ordinance, it's just that, if I'm going to report something regarding a sidewalk where it's uprooted by roots far beyond, and you're not going to, make it that every resident in the city is going to get cited. But the downtown areas are affected by this, either uprooted or blocks, bricks rather, that are uprooted. Very dangerous for pedestrians. Also the real accessibility of residents that are disabled. This is ridiculous. I don't need to. I mean, it's your ordinance, but I shouldn't have to be sending a letter to the city for a simple repair job. Take it to the right department, move on. Let's get the job done. So a lot of residents are having difficult times, I know you've got ramps and everything, but a lot of difficult times, trying to have access to those ramps because of these conditions, especially over by the Comfort Suites and so on and so forth. Now the road is being repaired. Regarding the ramp, I just can't see all this traffic that's being pushed eventually down 3rd Street. Don't we have enough congestion? Why was this ever, done with? I don't understand the philosophy behind this. I can't. I look at it every day and I get sick. I get sick. Are we going to use 2nd Street as an alternative route to alleviate some of that congestion, rather going in or out? But if it's going in the area of Riverside Drive, can 2nd Street, as I've often mentioned, let's use that as an alternative route and change on a permanent basis Grand Place and East Mechanic Street. It's a one-way going down towards New Street, change it the other way as a second alternative route. 2nd Street can come around to Polk Street, make a left on the 412. That would alleviate all that traffic. Come on now, let's think. I just don't see it working any other way. You're going to shoot traffic down all the way down, and the other thing is, those darn lights are taking too long. Whatever happened before with these traffic signals, the TSN and so on and so forth, that's ridiculous. You're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and still that doggone light don't change. It's not because one is impatient, it's because they made the move, and now people are not getting around like they usually would get around. Look at it yourself. Go down there, time it, and see what's happening. You also got police officers, stationed at like the Hill to Hill Bridge. What are they? with all due respect to the police officer, are I supposed to be changing signals, or, man, I see all that congested traffic all the way down 378. It's ridiculous. You make a plan for Brighton Street and so on, make it good. Make it good, because you're gonna have a heck of a lot of problems. I don't have enough time, but, stop commenting with all due respect that this is one of the safest cities. It's no longer a safe city. Not to my opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Shire.
Bill Shire, 1890 Eaton Avenue. There's a story that Vince Lombardi once said to the Green Bay Packers, "Gentlemen, we will strive for perfection. We will not achieve it, but in the process we will achieve excellence." Since moving back to my hometown, this is my 175th regular city council meeting. And during that time, I have felt that our city clerk's office was doing better than the Green Bay Packers. I haven't found ever a significant error in the minutes until this evening, which means the city council, or the city clerk's office, is now approaching the status of the Green Bay Packers. I refer to the minutes of the last meeting, and I'll quote. Mr. Shire pointed out that City Council voted on Resolution 11E, Certificate of Appropriateness, 133 Wall Street, but the recommendation of the HARB was to table the application. Attorney Spadoni acknowledged Mr. Shire's correction and advised the matter will be brought back before council to rescind the vote. There's nothing more in the minutes on that, and if the written record prevails, rules, as it does with the zoning hearing board, this record would mean that the vote had not been rescinded, and that the homeowner could go ahead and repaint the house, even though the HARB had tabled it. So what is needed, and my memory of last meeting is that there was a motion to reconsider, which was passed unanimously. So I think that should be added to the minutes, and along the lines of the Green Bay Packers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCallum. I'll ask Mr. Spadoni to review them, just to make sure we're on solid ground.